Hey, it's Dave Wyman. Time for a little bit of football 101 after the 31-9 beatdown Tampa Bay put on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And, there was a lot of talk, and we'll get into this maybe next week about, the kind of coverages that they won, that they played, and how they sort of out-schemed Kansas City, Tampa Bay's defense. But to me, what stood out throughout the entire playoffs was the play of these two guys right here. Now, I'm an ex-linebacker, so of course I'm going to talk about linebackers, but these guys, Lavonte David, number 54, and number 45, Devin White. Lavonte David was picked 5 spots after Bobby Wagner in the second round, 2012. So also in his 9th year. Devin White's in just his 2nd year, and I thought he was going to be MVP of the Super Bowl because he had played his tail off all year, didn't get any of the accolades, no All-Pro, no Pro Bowl, any of that. And he was by far, I thought, the most effective defensive player throughout the playoffs. But here's what I want to look at these two guys and just, like I said, there's lots to talk about scheme, but to me, it's about the players always. And this is a play from the divisional playoff round against New Orleans in the 3rd quarter, minute 37. And these guys went on an amazing run. I mean, Tampa Bay went to Washington, and they played against Tyler Heineke. And I was just talking to Stephen Burrill, who puts these together, and he had the stat that was the quarterback that had the most success against them. They went against Heineke, then they go against Breeze, then Rodgers, then Mahomes. So, I mean, that's a pretty tough stretch. So these guys were playing with a lot of confidence. These are both run plays, okay? And I just thought, this is the way these guys play and part of why they're so good. They have downhill linebackers, and what that means is they attack the line of scrimmage, and that's just the way they play their defense. So this play right here was particularly, the reason why I picked it is because the play by Lavonte David here makes me proud to have played in the NFL because of the way in his 9th year, he's a Pro Bowler, all those things, makes $9–10 million, and he's willing to do the grunt work, okay? And I'll show you what I mean here. So New Orleans ends up getting this. This is just a toss that's going to go this way. Breeze is going to pitch the ball here to Alvin Kamara, and it's going to end up being just a 1-yard gain. But the reason why, and we'll especially look at it on film, here's what they did. They block here. He goes up to the 2nd level, the center does, the linebacker, and then, there was a block here. This guy blocks down, he pulls around, and the tackle goes like this to eventually block Lavonte David. Lavonte David sprints to this point right here and dips his shoulder and takes out this tackle and then kind of rolls around on the ground. Kamara ends up having to jump over him, and that's going to slow you down, of course. And then he doesn't, make the tackle. But Lavonte David, what he does is, this is an away play. He has great speed, so he can come underneath a block. So what that means is this guy is fighting up to this level to try to block him. And typically what he would want to do is go over the top of this block to get there. But because he is so fast and because it's early in a running play, you can go underneath a block, which is breaking the rules. This is not his assignment. He comes underneath this block and is so fast, he's able to get out here and make the tackle for +1. But Lavonte David absolutely made this play by running here to this intersection of where he thought the tackle would be and just taking the tackle out and then making Kamara have to jump up in the air and kind of go sideways. So I just thought it was a really cool play and just something that really stood out to me. It was in the 3rd quarter, like I said, kind of a random play. But when you see the way these guys play, we're talking about all the scheme and everything, but these guys, they just play like their hair's on fire. This is the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl 55, 4th quarter, 14-43, and it's just a little trap play here, or it's a pulling guard, like a counter play is more like it. So what they do here is they block back here on, I think that was Vita Vea, and then just kick out here. And then what they do is they pull this guard, and he's going to come around here for number 54. The guy that I thought kind of made this play was Ndamukong Suh. I put his number in there because he was supposed to be singled, and this tackle was supposed to block and then chip off on 45. But Ndamukong Suh gets so much penetration right here that it forces the tackle to have to double team him. So now Lavonte David, you know, he doesn't have anybody coming for him over the top here because of Ndamukong Suh. Also, Ndamukong Suh bench presses this guy into the backfield. So now it makes this pull a little bit deeper. He gets here, he expects to go this way, but he has to stop and go kind of around and then up on Lavonte David. So that screws up the timing of the play. So Ndamukong Suh, big part of this play. But then Lavonte David comes up and hits him with his inside shoulder, okay? So he hits with this shoulder on the guard pulling this way to turn it back into his buddy. And that's exactly what he did. I had a coach that used to say, you guys are two peas in a pod. You know, you go this way, you turn it back to the backside guy. The other guy, you turn it back to the backside guy. So that's what these two guys have been doing every game, and they just had so much success. But Lavonte David, once again, kind of like a stunt man, he just gets blown up. I mean, he comes up, he hits the guy hard, but then the guy ends up dragging him downfield and puts him right on his back. And you'll see that, but he made a sacrifice. And the sacrifice was Devin White. Now, this guy runs a 4.42 40. Okay, so if him and I raced when I was in my prime, he would have beat me in a 40-yard dash by about 5 yards. So this guy is incredible. He doesn't get a great read, but then once he does, and hopefully we'll be able to see this on film, he kind of tweaks his ankle a little bit. His ankle kind of pops out. Maybe he's too fast for his own body, but he's able to regain and then come up here and make a tackle up here for just a 1 yard gain. But he reads this, but ultimately it was because Lavonte David was willing to be a stuntman on that play, turn the play back into his running mate, Devin Bush. I'm sorry, I always get him mixed up with the guy in Pittsburgh. Devin White is the linebacker. He was the 5th or 6th pick out of LSU. Really good player. So I thought the play of the linebackers, it wasn't about scheme so much. There were lots of talk about, well, they ran a cover 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter. I mean, to me, it's how the guys play within it. And credit to Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, that he put his guys in positions where they didn't have to think too much and they could just turn it loose. So to me, it was not so much about scheme. It was about 1-2. And that means sometimes doing the dirty work, like number 54 did here. And he did it on the play in New Orleans as well, and he did it all throughout the playoffs. Let's take a look at it on film. All right, let's take a look at the play we talked about in the divisional round against New Orleans. Great end zone shot here. And here you see Devin White, and there you see Lavonte David. And so what's going to happen is this center is going to try to get up to block Devin White here. You got a block here. And then you're going to get a block down and a pull around. So Lavonte David knows he needs to beat this pulling tackle to the edge. And you'll see him just take off as soon as the play starts. And here we go. And that, you know, I always say downhill, or there's a term called scrape, and that's where you go at about a 45-degree angle at the line of scrimmage, but you're closing ground. So you're not just going this way, you're going that way. And so, you know, Lavonte David sees that this guy is kicking around to try to get the outside guy, so he needs to get to a spot. And the spot that he wants to get to is right there, and he just hustles his tail off and just, like I said, sacrifices his body. This is where you're going to see the Devin White here come underneath this block. The center is working up to him, and he's got so much speed, like he's supposed to, assignment-wise, go this way, but instead he goes this way, underneath the block, and he has the kind of speed to get there. So here you see, this is Lavonte David. He's made contact with the tackle already, but he flung himself, basically threw himself, like I said, like a stuntman. And now he's rolled over, and you can see he's trying to put his hand up in the air there to sort of, you know, maybe click the heels of Alvin Kamara. But again, him not being able to just run straight to the edge, he has to stop and kind of hop over him. That allows Devin White to be able to come under that block and then make the tackle out by the sidelines. And here we go, and there's poor Lavonte David laying on the ground, but you can see the amount of field or, you know, ground that Devin White covers is amazing, because he's already out here. The last frame we saw, he was about right here, but he ends up making a tackle right there for a 1 yard gain. All right, here we go, Super Bowl 55, and just like I said, there's 93 right there. And Ndamukong Suh, he can't run necessarily, but he is really a stout player. So basically, you're going to get a kick out here. This guy's going to pull, block back here on Vita Vea. And then, like I said, I thought that it was supposed to be a block here and then a double team here. And then he eventually would come up to this level and block Devin White. But because he gets so much penetration, he has to stay on this block. And then both of these linebackers are reading the pulling guard, knowing that it's a counter play. You know, just a block back here, but they read this right away. Now here you can see that, and this is kind of an interesting little thing. Right here, Devin White takes a really weird step. If you go back and look at this play, and I went back and looked at it in slow motion, and I don't know if you can see it there, but his ankle is twisting. He kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit, and it kind of slowed him down. But here's our stunt man right here, Lavonte David, just coming up, taking this guy on, and he ends up getting driven all the way back here. But as you can see, once again, his running mate right there in that hole to be able to make a tackle for just a 1-yard gain. This is a great shot right here. I love this because you can see Lavonte David knows, oh, I'm about to get put on my back. And I know the times that happened to me in the NFL, I was like, oh, this is going to look bad on film. But for him, it's heroic. He does a great job taking this guy on. Guy probably outweighs him by 60, 70 pounds. But here you see Devin White is able to, you know, regain his footing after he tweaked his ankle a little bit and makes a tackle for a loss right there. So again, you know, I thought there was a lot of talk about scheme and the way that Tampa Bay ran it. Definitely their defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, did a good job. But you got this kind of effort out of your linebackers. It got better and better as the playoffs went on. And remember, they started off in Washington, then they went to New Orleans, then they went to Green Bay. Those are some tough quarterbacks that they faced. So really good job by that defense, Todd Bowles, but mostly, to me, it's always all about the players. And here's a couple of linebackers that were just making plays.